There are so many things that run in one's mind in a millisecond very often, and yet while we are holding on to some are always out of our grasp, and one feels that what if this would have happened, or what if this wouldn't have happened. And I feel that this impermanence of almost everything that comes to be is a topic that I would want to share with today's guest, who is who's been an inspiration by the way he lives his life. Uh, Please welcome with me to the Values Workshop podcast, Mustafa. Hi, Mustafa.
Hello, Surinder. So lovely to be here in your presence, in your curious space.
Thank you. So, making peace with impermanence is what I have been thinking about. Uh, Recently, you had a bereavement. Uh, I've had guests who are going through various phases of some kind of loss at every now and then. Some people around me have been dealing with loss of health. In fact, I see death as sometimes a concept more than anything else, where something or the other is being lost even as we try and gain something else or attach ourselves to some new method, new thought, new feeling, new emotion. And yet there is some sense of loss, and one has to uh, realign oneself to one's bearings and come to understanding what is the moment bringing to me. You speak so evocatively, and I've been following you on Insta, and you are one of the guys who writes a lot more than I do at times, and I find that you're very evocative in the way you bring this up. How do you see that presently, and what is your state of mind as we speak?
Yeah, let's see what comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you put it very correctly that so many of us goes through experiences of loss in different forms in our life. Sometimes we lose a dream that we want to pursue. Sometimes we lose a person, partner, parent, child, friend, career, health.
Yeah.
All these are different forms of loss. Right now, I think you know it, but just for people who are listening to it, I recently lost a very dear younger brother, just 27 years old, very dear to my heart, very dear to my heart. And I'm in middle of that. I'm in middle of that right now. It was very sudden. I usually don't come to my hometown. In last 4 years, this is the second time I'm coming here. And yeah, I just had this very clear nudge that I have to just be here and be with my uncle aunt. So that's why I'm here. And I think I lost. I'm getting a little sidetracked. But I think what you I picked when you were sharing, there are these two things that were coming for me. That in this spiritual teachings, we use a lot of um, there is a lot of teachings on impermanence of things, and one thing that I am learning for myself is sometimes one doesn't have to be too quick to go to that teaching. It's a good teaching, but there are these stages of grieving. So, like right now, what I'm actually alive with that there is a loss of something, a person, an idea, a dream, a version, whatever. And there, when that is gone, there's a part of me as a brother, there's a part of someone else as a mother, there's a part of someone else as a father that is also dying. And grief is so important because it can just open us to life, to our heart, to humanity. And I think a lot of us in our culture don't know how to honor grief fully. We either deny it, distract ourselves, or use spiritual teachings to bypass it. And I think my invitation right now is to come back to to honor grief when it arises in wholesome right way. I don't claim to know it fully, but I intend to listen to the guidance of life that how it wants me to honor grief. So when the moment of crying is there, how can I allow myself to cry? When like for example, when my aunt is falling apart with pain, with grief, I am being guided to just sit next to her and hold her, not do anything else, and let that grief happen. Um, so it's moment to moment listening to life's guidance in terms of how it wants to go through me. Sometimes it wants to speak words, and sometimes it just wants to hold space. So yeah, these are the layers kind of alive for me.
It's so beautiful. Actually, while there are questions, there is also one feels like just being silent and uh, receiving what's coming up through you. Uh, I like two particular things that you mentioned. One is that allowing life to guide us, and second is grief has layers to it. Uh, and you very rightly mentioned that you may not understand it fully, but your intention is to be with it and see what it brings up for you. What I also realize is that uh, how much ever we learn about it, impermanence is really never learned fully. Very often uh, we have the ability to be hit with, because it's not a conceptual thing always. However ready you think you are for anything, and I think we love drama very often. We uh, anything that comes within our grasp, no, we love to hold, and the ego starts thinking, okay, I know this, I know I can take care of this. Uh, so when I lost my wife, I think I was quite calm about it. It was expected, and it went on for quite a long time. She was struggling with the disease for 9 years. So it wasn't really unexpected, and we were going downhill for the last couple of months quite uh, solidly, if I were to call it that. And I never mentioned this to myself also. So my kid said, "Why are you suddenly acting as if you didn't know?" So this was one
Hmm.
thing I kept blaming her on the last day, saying, "You should have told me yesterday that you're going. At least I would have said a better goodbye or something like that." And my kid said, "No, you knew. I knew it because you knew it." And I was like, okay, I never told this to myself. And then the processing took 6 months of few seconds, because when you're working or working on yourself or on the path, you're really ready for some kind of impermanence for sure. And this was a possibility that one entertained for a long time before it really happened. And yet there is this sudden spurt of, oh, I miss you. Oh, I wish I had done this for you. And then you break down, or you Matlab, I couldn't even break down for more than like 4 seconds or 10 seconds or something like that. But it was just enough. I knew, okay, it had pierced me somewhere and I was not ready for that. And it would happen randomly for 6, 8 months. And till then, I started making peace with what had happened. And I think what you are sharing today is so beautiful, because you use the word honor grief. Here we don't acknowledge it only most of the time. Okay, that this
Yeah.
exists, because we got to be super people. We are always in control. We'll not break down. We shall not cry. We shall
Yeah.
hold our parents and hold our kids,
Yeah.
and they are
Yeah.
allowed to break down. But we will
Yeah.
not do this. We are young and we can take a lot of this. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Grief knows that you are vulnerable. Life knows where you can be touched, and in a manner that you may not like at that moment, or you may acknowledge or not. It doesn't care. It just enters.
Yeah.
Either you accept it, or else you hold on till you go. but it will keep holding you on as much as you hold on. You've got to let go and experience the full experience. So, my question to you, uh, you are not very young in the traditional sense. You've seen a bit of life. You've been out of your hometown, you said, for a long time. It's not easy. Insta reels and everything sound like as if every day one is flowering. No, no, there is seeding, there is raining, there is mud slipping under your feet, you falling, and someday you're absolutely clueless of what your life is about because these structures help. Oh, I am an architect, I am a writer, I do this work, I got this work, I finished this work, I did this, I brought vegetables, I cut vegetables, I cooked. So we give ourselves these roles and jobs to keep defining our lives for smaller moments. But at some point, even those finish. But you have taken a bigger call. You said, okay, let me just go explore, see what happens. Now you know impermanence of sorts because you've really taken a conscious call. Why would it hit you? Or what hits you is my exploration with you at this moment.
Wow. Your question is, I have been on this path for a long time and I know your assumption is I know impermanence. Uh,
Yeah, my assumption is
and
you know a bit of it for sure.
I know a bit of it, and then why would it hit me? That's your question.
Or what in it is hitting you.
What in it hits me? Okay, before I respond to that question, I just want to honor this sacred thing about the passing of your beloved wife that you shared. I just want to honor it. I just want to honor what you shared, and there's this deep pain that you touch upon that there is the relation to grief is such a dysfunctional one in our society at large. There
Yeah.
are many rituals which are rooted in holding grief, which has lost its essence and has just remained a ritual. And especially for men,
Wow. Yes, it
I mean,
has.
I'm noticing all this layer, and especially for men, uh, there are not enough support systems to honor grief, which I'm noticing. And I think you are also in some way touching upon it. Like men are supposed to be strong, and I'm sure those qualities are important, but also a father, a husband, a son needs to grieve.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart to see that it's we have lost these things and we need to get back to it if we want a
Closure.
whole if you want I don't know, yeah, maybe closure, or maybe if you want a right kind of wholesome living, we need to get back to these things.
Yeah.
So that is one thing I want to just touch upon.
Thank you.
um, and your question was
What in grief is touching you at this moment with
my
whatever experience
humanity
you've had?
my humanity my humanity is I'm coming to terms with my humanity being as sacred as anything. I have a human heart. I yes, at a spiritual, there is a spiritual plane where it's all one and we are transient beings and we are not our body, we are not our mind. That's true. And at the same time, I'm also this human being, relational being. I am not an enlightened person who can see things as it is. And so I think I am at a stage where my heart breaks and it feels right to let it break.
Hmm.
It just feels right to let it break. There is nothing noble about closing my heart. It's the whole thing is about opening my heart. And grief is such a beautiful, powerful portal that can open my heart. Yeah. So why would I not bow down to the gift that grief brings? And I'm not claiming that my heart is fully open. There are moments where my heart is numb. There are moments when I see this mother in front of me sitting at this um, qabr, we call it qabr in Islamic tradition,
Grave.
and grieving for her child. And I look at her and she becomes my teacher. She knows how to grieve. She knows
Ah.
how to break her heart. So then I just sit and look at her and I learn, I listen. I'm like, what's happening here? This is something what a mother feels. I have no idea what it means. I have no idea how to what it means to be a mother. I have no idea what it means to birth a human being and see that one go. I have all the spiritual knowledge, but I don't care for
Hmm.
that in that moment. Because the truth of this moment is this heart is aching, it's in pain, it's going through these phases of grief, and somehow I feel that I'm being guided to be fully present to this truth of this moment.
Oh, oh, so beautiful this is. Yeah, it is heartbreaking, but it's very beautiful.
It is heartbreaking, but it's beautiful and it coexists together. I just want to let me share, like last few days, I've been noticing the environment of the house sometimes becomes very dense and depressing, and there is not enough practices to come back to aliveness, to life, to joy. So somehow since last few days as I've been being here, just trying to listen because there are so many people involved, no? It's not just two people. The whole family, like there are like 10, 15, 20 people in the house and so many different people, so many different emotions, so many different ways, so many different, there are children, there are adults, there are extended family, everyone is there. And my, somehow my kind of way of being is somehow staying with my practice, staying with my breath, but also being fully there, listening to the environment and see how the response wants to arise. Not to have this, I mean, I have these ideas and I have these all this, but keeping it aside as much as I can. And I mean, a few days ago, while I was interacting with this little kid in the house, I was being guided that let's do an art session in the house just to enjoy and celebrate and bring out our aliveness. And so yesterday evening we had this amazing art session in the house where everyone participated, including the mother, including the sister of this one who left us in body at least. And we were all painting, we were all enjoying, we were all sharing this joy with each other. And that is also my way of honoring my brother. I will and we will grieve when it's needed, when the grief is there, but we will also be joyful. We will also be alive. We will also laugh. Uh, that's also necessary. That's also life. So, the capacity to hold this both, that is our wholeness. And how do we come back to it? How do we create structures and support systems in our community that can hold both end of the spectrum, grief and joy together? They are like uh,
Yeah,
they are
inseparable.
same, inseparable. So that is my play. That is my dance right now.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. So, what a beautiful thing you've done, and you are part of at this point. Uh, I think the joy is in acceptance of the grief itself, because irrespective of our closing our hearts to something as fundamentally strong as this, and as Mane, death is, if there is a word, unremovable from life. How can you not have it? So I will give a different context to it. Some time back I was listening to this monk, and he said a very beautiful thing. He was talking about space. The entire talk was about space. And he says we have forms because there is space. So there is a definition. And we never notice space. We never notice space. And because I have been a bad engineer and a decent curious student, I guess, so I remembered these some stuff that I read on acoustics in cinema halls, and so there are steps which are carpeted, and there are these soundproofing of walls done, and the seats need to have a certain kind of cushioning. Um, so I said, so beautiful this is. I saw it there, but I don't see it with me. And he says, he was talking about consciousness, and he says, if I have to tell you what is consciousness, then for you to understand, I can only point out at it. I can never tell you what it is. And of course, there were a lot of things he says. I am not a teacher, and I loved it because he's a very very senior monk, 91 years old, and he's the teacher, obviously, in that monastery per se. But the way he contextualized the entire thing, and I think now when you contextualize this thing, now for people uh, who think that this is irreverence towards death, that holding an art thing for the people who are grieving, I would think that, well, there is no moment you will stop missing somebody, and there is no moment you will be at peace with it. You will always be at peace, you will always be missing, you will always be grieving, you will simultaneously so many things run under us. Our humanity is not defined with these names and words that we give it. So while talking to you, I am a podcaster. Obviously, I am talking. But when you are hitting me, I am like feeling the full impact of it within me, and my eyes are welling up, and I am like, "Hey, hello, what's happening?" But it's so human.
Yeah.
And why is painting not prayer?
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Why is
Wow.
dancing not prayer? Because we do
Wow.
these prayers when we have
Yeah.
Ganpati going on right now in Maharashtra. Every single lane has couple of uh, beautiful renditions of Ganpati,
Yeah.
beautiful renditions of Aarti and music, uh,
Hmm.
painting competitions, dancing competitions, ladies decking up. Right now, I was just entering, and I am at peace with not praying or any such thing. But I was just walking through, and they stopped me and gave me prasad, and then take this. And they were all smiling and happy. And there was this vibe. Today evening, this is impermanent. Today evening is the Visarjan.
Mm.
There is nothing in
Mm.
particular that is happening that is going to stay.
Mm.
So, how about celebrating what is available to us?
Yeah.
As much as we grieve, it's going.
Yeah.
And maybe they are interchangeable. How does one know? We cry when we are happy also, very happy. So any extreme it does touch the same chords perhaps inside. I don't know. So my question to you, or my provocation to you, uh, are there any words that you actually use during this time? Because as human beings, sometimes we are dependent on them. Much as silence is the greatest healer, I would think. But when you reached there and you met your uh, cousins' parents or other relatives
Yeah.
who are unable to hold their griefs
Yeah.
because they want to express, or they are forced to express. We tend to think they don't know any better, but well, that this is their version of what they are being.
Yeah.
And while there are days when you have to share your wisdom, but there are days when you just share their
Yeah.
humanity. What
Yeah.
was your particular way of holding the space and being
Yeah.
with them? Is there any episode that has happened that will touch our hearts as much as your, like this kid telling you to hold a painting thing is just completely, you wouldn't, perhaps, I don't know, you would perhaps dare, knowing you, but I think we wouldn't dare think sometimes because we are also in the construct of the society. Oh, how do I suggest? Just when the idea pops up and then you say, oh, wow, this seems to be a doable thing. So, any such moment where you don't need to take names if you think you want to hold their privacy, but just the moment or the sharing, whatever you think helps us.
Yeah. I think I like the question. There's I have a feeling there is a juicy stuff that can come up if I touch upon it,
Yeah.
which can be helpful. Let me play with it. Let me play with what you shared. I think what I heard you ask is what is my way of or my approach have been about holding this space of grief,
No,
silence, and
now in
words.
particular, because this is okay, let me contextualize it a little more precisely. You said your brother was 27 years. Now, that's at any point of time, it's a difficult question that death asks of us. But a young death is certainly a question that falls in the territory of, oh man, what do we
Yeah,
do now?
yeah, yeah. Are you there?
Yeah, so I'm saying when you met your cousin's parents or
So
relatives.
yeah, that's what I'm coming to. That's what I'm coming to. See,
Hmm.
um, there is an intellectual process to it that I can do that and I can do this. I can be silent or I can speak wise words. That is all mind games. Okay, and that is very much present in me.
So,
Let me honestly say that that is very much present in me. My ego thinks it can perform or it can do things in this way, and that is very much present in me. My practice right now is whatever tools I have in my life to use those tools to empty myself again and again and come back to this place of spaciousness and presence and listen from moment to moment how life wants to use me. You see? So then it's very spontaneous most times. Sometimes I'm guided to speak a certain things and that happens. Sometimes I'm guided to hold space and that happens. Sometimes I'm guided to stand up firmly to protect the space of grieving of my uncle, aunt if someone else is intruding that space. Sometimes I'm guided to be that access that warrior energy. So sometimes that happens. Sometimes I'm guided to let things happen. So sometimes that happens. So there is no particular way. It's
okay.
moment to moment listening that how is it that life wants to hold space through me, and for that my ego, my mind, I have to just get to the space behind it. My ego, my mind is very much there, and
True.
um, and because I'm in a place where there are so many things happening and so many things can stir so many things within me, and there are these and constantly to go to a place which can include it all, which is not caught up in the reactionary ways of things. um, I think that has been a practice, and that is actually like I we can say I did art session yesterday, sure, but when I look at it, it's like it was guided by life because there are so many causes and conditions that came together in last few days, and as I was present to it, um, I was guided that this is a possibility that can benefit most or all in the house. Like, what can benefit most people? What can benefit? So I think it's not me. It's uh, life is doing it. Life is doing it. It's the listening job, and and other thing that you shared. I feel confident, centered, and rooted in my connection with God, in my connection with my soul enough um, to not be swayed by the collective psyche of the house. There are, like, I am right now in a household which is following very much Islamic traditional things, and I don't do all those things their way. So, but I do my things my way without necessarily um, judging their ways. Um, um, and I am and there are many things that happens, but I feel centered enough to do what feels right. And of course, I'm also curious and like I'm listening also that okay, I'm keeping my ego in check. My ego, of course, at times comes up that I know better.
Yeah.
I know better. And that I know better one, I have to keep it in check. Because there are moments where I don't know better. There are moments where I don't know what to do. And that's where the devotional practice or the prayer practice or the humility practice helps. Okay, I don't know this. Let me be open and listen. And something comes, something doesn't come.
So beautiful.
It's a
So
very
beautiful.
imperfect practice.
You, my question was here, and you gave a nice umbrella answer to it, and it's so beautiful. I love that. I have a very beautiful question coming up. So you are in a, I find hospitals a very good place to find my presence. Not that I visit them often or any such thing, or I don't deliberately go and sit. But while a lot of people don't like hospitals, whenever I go to a hospital, I think there is more of humanity and uh, acceptance than most places. Sometimes more than our devotional places also. Even graveyards have the same energy. Crematoriums have the same energy. So it is with people who are grieving. Uh, my kid has this thing that people call you only when they are unhappy. Why is it so? I said I wouldn't have it any other way. That means they connect with me at a real level. I don't want to be part of their parties if they don't feel like. I'm okay to go and be happy with them if they want. But to me, it is far more important to be part of what is real to them, where they
Yeah,
paused or where they've stopped and where they really want to. If they think that my, so there are random things have happened. A friend lost, wasn't in touch for many years, and suddenly one fine day she calls up and she says, I lost my mom, and I have just woken up from a deep afternoon siesta, and 5 years this suddenly happened, and she's crying, and I'm thinking, why did she call me? But I don't even have a clue about that. But like you said, there is this honoring the grief, honoring the friendship, honoring the vulnerability, honoring the trust that they have, that when they call me and they can let go. Why would I not feel honored about this whole thing?
yeah,
Uh, so my question to you, you've entered a space because you said so many little things that were so beautiful that people intrude in your grief. People are insensitive to your feelings at some point. They'll end up saying things that they may not mean or they sometimes mean it. So lot of interactions happening. Humans are humans and different they send out different vibes, specifically in terms of this kind of vacuum that suddenly props up and knock, knock, who are you? Where are you? How are you? And you have no answers. So you do a lot of things which may not make logical sense at times. People, people faint. They are so unhappy. People fight. People are angry.
yes,
Grief has many, many,
yes,
many ways of expressing itself.
yes,
But my
yes,
question to you is from a, like you asked me, answered me in an umbrella fashion, you entered what I would call a sacred space of death.
yeah, yeah,
How do you look at that sacredness? So here you are related to the person. You have come specifically to be and participate in this dance of life and its impermanence, if I were to just use a term. You are with people who may not have control sometimes because the overwhelming sense of grief takes over, and it may not be healthy for them, or it may be they will be old, they will be older than you. Sometimes you don't have the right words. You said that I love the two words that you used very often in your answer, listening and presence. Okay, sometimes that's all that is needed. Having said that, do you want to dwell a little on the sacredness of the space because of
yeah,
the death that has happened, not because
yeah,
it is an otherwise thing, oh, it happened, so we had to be here. But now that I am here, what is the holiness? What is the sacredness of death?
yeah.
What is the anything that comes up for you?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for this potent question. Like, I love that you're using the word sacred space because it indeed is a sacred space. It indeed is a sacred space. And while I was listening to you, there are so many things that kind of were
Popping up.
uh, popping up for me. So many things you are touching up, and I really feel that it's very important to talk about this, to have more conversation about this, to have more awareness about this. Um, I think you touched upon something very important. Uh, Grief has so many layers. And this is one thing that I have found different ways of sharing with my environment and has helped me a lot. Like
Oh,
there are 5 stages of grief. First is denial, denial of what has happened. Second is blame, blaming ourselves, blaming others, blaming life, blaming God.
hmm.
Third stage is anger, Anger at ourselves, anger at others, anger at God, anger at situations, everything. So third stage is anger. Fourth stage is depression, sadness, lowness, all these things. That is the fourth stage. We feel depressed, we feel sad, we feel like, yeah. And then fifth stage is acceptance. So we cannot jump to the fifth stage suddenly, directly. We have to go through all these layers. Now, because somehow so many of us don't know these layers of grief, we don't know how to honor these layers. We jump to, we are afraid of these layers. When someone is angry, we are afraid of anger, but we cannot hold anger. Now, because somehow I had certain capacity to hold anger, to hold this hatred that was coming up for certain people, it actually passed.
Uh,
It actually passed. It passed. There was no need to correct it. There was no need to judge it. There was no need to suppress it. There was no need to do anything about it, but just to hold space for it, and it passed. And then the softness came, and then the insights came. But all these happens. Life has its own rhythm. But if we let life happen, now a lot of things, what happens is people don't know how to, and at no fault of their own. We just are not equipped enough sometimes to hold these extreme states and emotions. And all we know is um, do some intellectual masturbation around it. All right. Oh, it has to happen. Oh, life and all this gyanbazi is there. And I see all these layers, and I'm not judging anyone. I have done that. I perhaps do it at certain point, but what the invitation that life is giving me, that how can we have more and more skillfulness, tools, awareness around wholly understanding these sacred space, as you said, and these layers of grief. And so when these things are coming up, we know what's coming up. We are not suddenly surprised. Like, we
uh,
know what's coming. We are equipped with how to handle this. And so, that has been such an insightful thing for me to see these layers in the um, in this space, and again listen and see. Everyone actually is supporting this, my uncle aunt, in their own ways. So then, even if I see layers of dysfunctional things at times, I think life is also inviting me to not become self-righteous about it, that I know better than you. And is there a way that I can include them in my heart from a place of love? And is there a way I can support them? Is there a way I can love them? Is there a way I can empower the support system that will be more pure? Because I will leave and go back to my base in some days. And then these are the people who will be here. So can I just transmute some form of tools, love, spaciousness, joy, aliveness, whatever? Is it, can I be a channel for that? Live, do you want to use me for that? uh,
yeah.
Please take away my pride, please take away my righteousness,
Oh,
because I have a lot of it. uh, so that has been my
I,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Uh, um, I have a even more difficult question coming up. Uh, how do you see your mortality when you come to face with when it hits very close to us? Death has this beauty about. So I have this notion because I haven't read it somewhere, but it is just something that has popped up for me very often enough, where I think that if anything in particular comes to you in this form, which is very big, and so if I find out that, oh, my school friend's brother has suddenly passed away and I wasn't in touch, but I feel a sense of very, very light grief at like a human would for somebody else, but there is a touch of it. And I would think it is not a random person who's died. It is my friend's school friend's brother. So I try and make a connection for me to own it. But at the same time, there are sometimes in your closest circles when that happens, you don't need to think anything. You immediately know that you are impacted, affected, uh, and you are to face this grief in this moment. There has been no question asked. It's just entered your life, knock knock, and it's just inside. At that point, without fail, I look at my own mortality very often in crematoriums and other places where I see why am I here? What is it that is happening in the immediate, of course, but even in the okay, where am I guiding my life with whatever knowledge and like you are using a term tools that I have? Is it moving in a direction that I see? Am I losing
Yeah,
myself?
yeah,
Am I studying myself enough? Uh, of course, there are egoistic things that come up and everything is there, but it is a deliberate attempt to look at oneself and mortality in a manner where is there anything popping up? So does this kind of thought process exist for you at any point? And even if not, once you enter this space, uh, there is no way you can deny the power of
yeah, 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 yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
thing. Okay, this impermanence has just hit you. Uh,
yeah.
like we started, there are small losses that prepare us every day. I am talking to you and suddenly the Wi-Fi fails or something happens. Actually speaking, there is nothing in particular that is in our hands. But that's a notion we like to carry. I think ignorance is bliss for a lot of time. But it does get broken. Life does knock. So, how do you face your mortality when faced with something so intense as this? Because it's not a normal set of circumstance, or maybe it is a normal set of circumstance. We don't like to see it as normal. People are and will continue to exist or not, depending upon their karma, life, God, whatever you want to call it. But this thing is bound to happen. How does Mustafa view Mustafa's non existence?
How does Mustafa view Mustafa's non-existence? Um, I mean, I'll try to play with it as much as best as I can. I think you use the word mortality and how do I deal and contemplate on my own mortality. I mean, that's very much present almost all the time. Uh, Contemplation on death, my own death, death of my loved ones, my attachment to all the ideas and beliefs and dreams and visions. All of these is an active form of contemplation. And I think death of any kind is a beautiful portal to let go of this sense of control, because anyways there is no sense of control, but there is an illusion of control all the time which is making us agitated and suffer, and we all are in the same boat.
Yes.
No, at least, I mean, at least I am. So, it is always an opportunity. How can I let go of my sense of control and listen to life's wisdom in any given moment? It's a constant, beautiful practice, right? It's a constant, beautiful practice. And life gives infinite opportunities for practicing this, especially in these times of these loss of these closed ones. And of course, I contemplate on death of my dear ones, perhaps my mother, perhaps my father, and I can intellectually prepare myself as much as I can,
Mhm.
as much as I want to, but I also know that when it really hits me, if at all it hits me, um, you never know. Life might ask me to leave my body first, so it's always up to life. But in case, um, I know that I will never be prepared enough, but I have humility enough to bow down to it when it comes. And I have support system enough to ask help when I need help. So I have no idea how to prepare for certain things, but all I can attend to what is here and now
Yeah.
to the best of my ability. I mean, um, yeah.
Yeah, I think
And 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 I honestly, it's so relieving to let go of sense of control and let life be the guide. And also engage wholeheartedly. If life is guiding me to do something, do it fully. and then let go of the attachment. Now, this is a practice again. Why we call it a practice? Because we will get caught up in attachment to outcomes.
Yeah.
Like, so, anyways, it's a constant practice. So, yeah,
I I think this line came up to me because of what you said. Contemplation is not reality.
hmm
Contemplation is contemplation because you may
hmm
contemplate your non-existence, and it is very useful as a practice. It helps do all the things that you mentioned. It helps you become more humble. It helps you. Sometimes it gives perspective to things that you're not giving otherwise. Because I think that I may not exist, I may want to make peace with everyone. So if I have a
yeah,
fight with you, I would think, okay, someday I'm going to die. I don't want to die being fighting with
sure,
somebody. So let me go make my peace. It's better.
sure,
So
sure,
it really gives you a lot of uh, good things to exist for, and
sure.
yet life being life is bigger, and it's reality in the moment as we express and feel it in the moment is complete by itself, as it expresses, not even as we express, because we may not be able to express. That may also be the way they want, life wants us to be in that moment. How do we know? And another thing that struck me with your answer was a very beautiful thing. You said it's a constant thing, and there is no speciality to death. Every moment has gone, will never come back again. And you said it's a constant thing, and it just struck me
Yeah,
that that's why it has to be constant, because this moment anyway is gone. Now the
yeah,
next moment I'm alive in this, I need to feel it fully, be full,
yeah,
be humble,
yeah,
be with it, because otherwise, every even the notion of life is not life.
yeah.
So thank you for so many provocative things you said. And
Yeah,
as another friend of mine likes to call them invocations.
yeah.
Um and I think this has been an absolutely amazing and a very grounding talk. Uh,
It feels like that.
huh. There has been no flamboyance about any of these. These are flamboyant things. That is a flamboyant thing. Loss is
Mhm.
grief is a huge thing. We don't know what can come up. But thanks to our bonding, our shared humanity, our ability to connect to each other on a, I feel you. That's a blessing. I,
And I feel you. And I
ah,
feel you. I could see your eyes welling up. I could see your emotions coming up. And that was the moment of connection. And
yeah,
that is sacred. That is sacred in our humanity. And I think we need to honor that while remembering
yeah,
our spirituality and spiritual dimensions.
true.
And I just want to add one thing
Please do.
before we uh, come to close in any way. I think coming closer to death actually makes me question that what am I to do with my precious time, my precious energy, my precious life? Because what impact do I need to create to the world? Can I allow my soul to take over me? Can I allow my soul to breathe through me? Can I allow my soul to create through me? Can this life force energy serve whatever it is meant to do through me? So I think it's a very potent space in a way that it actually brings us closer to what's truly essential
Yeah,
and what's not.
true. In fact, I thought you were going to say what it brings us very close to what is life.
Mhm.
Because that's what it is. This whole potency is being expressed through this life form, whatever we've been blessed with. And thank you so much, Mustafa. I always look forward to, even a chat with you feels happy, but a full podcast with you is an absolute blessing. And I'm glad you could take time out for sharing your thoughts in a space and time which is generally seen as a private and difficult time. Thank you so much, and I wish you all peace and happiness. And may all who are going through this get some strength out of this and learnings and respect and humility and humanity and happiness and joy and peace, whatever good things there are, may all be blessed with this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for beautiful prayer and beautiful wishes and your genuine curiosity and heart. And I really feel very nourished and content with this conversation, especially in this time. It's very helpful for me to just have this.
Yes,
So yeah, lots of love to anyone who is watching this, to you, to your family, to your heart, and may it benefit all beings. May all
thank
be
you.
peaceful. May all be happy. May all
Sadhu.
grieve well.
Yes, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.